Hello everybody and welcome to another video of Pokemon TCG Austria. Today it's me, Lucas, again, and I'm bringing you a sort of different video today. It's for the not so advanced players, I would say, mainly, but maybe the advanced players can learn a thing or two too. But this time I will show you how to think while building a deck, because I know that many of you want to have it easy and just ask for lists, and then they copy them and they play it at a tournament. But actually, if you build your deck yourself and think about your list and why you play why you play which card, it actually improves your game because you know how to deal with different situations because you thought of them, you imagined them while building the deck yourself. So yeah, that's what I want to show you. And for an example, I'll take Mehdi Hafi's Night March deck list, which he used to win the ECC, and I'll try to give you an idea of how he came to the final decision to play the deck like he did. So um, how he came to the conclusion to play exactly those 60 cards, which he did. So what I'll do here is create a deck in the standard format, and yeah, first of all, he he wants to build a Night March deck. So we need the standard Night March cards, which are actually close to half of the deck. But yeah, we need to first of all we need the Night Marches to in the deck. So we run the all of the Night Marches. There are three of them. Are a 4 off because we want to max out the damage. So the second one is Pumpkaboo. There you go. And the last one is the stage 1, Lampent. Yes. So then all of them, they need a DC to attack. So it's very easy to fit in 4 DC in the deck. You know that the deck is extremely explosive, so Versus Seeker is a 4 off in every Night March deck and should be. Um, I think there's no way any Night March deck can live without 4 Versus Seekers. Yeah, I already showed you the Pumpkaboo, which means we have the Night March attack on a Pumpkaboo, which is an attacker 2 next to the Joltik, but we need three colorless energies. So with the we have a problem here because the one double colorless is not enough. So obviously we try to find a way for that, and there is this stadium card, Dimension Valley, because Pumpkaboo's type is Psychic, we play Dimension Valley. So 3 should be enough because Pumpkaboo is not your only attacker. It's just your another attacker next to Joltik. So as I already mentioned, we want to go explosive because the deck wants to run to the player wants to run through his deck quickly, and therefore we need the speed engine. That's what I call it. It contains 4 Battle Compressor, of course, because we want to get the Night Marches in the discard. And Battle Compressor just thins out your deck real quickly, and it's just super good. Also, we play very many trainer cards, or we expect us to play many trainer cards. That's why we run 4 Trainer's Mail. because the card is also really good to dig for battle compressor or stuff I'll add in a few moments. Um, Secondly, we run acrobike. Um, Acrobike sometimes leads to different situations where you need to decide between two important cards. We don't want that to happen too often, so that's why we only run three. Also, space is close in this deck, but three acrobike should do the deal anyways. So that would be enough acrobikes. Next we have the four ultra balls because, well, we also run shamans because also that's also part of the speed engine. I only have those. Oh no, I don't. Three shamans should actually be enough because we don't want to start with it, but we want to have a good amount of them to dig for them with Ultra Ball, and with for Ultra Ball we can dig with Trainer's Mail, and yeah, so on. So that's for the speed engine, and we already have 41 cards in the deck, so yeah. Then we only run 4 DCUs right now, so what we could debate now is, do we run basic energy? If we run basic energy, we need to think about it a little more. If we run basic energies, no Pokemon with can attack with one single energy. Pumpkaboo needs 3 with Dimension Valley in play 2, and Joltik needs also 2. So if we play the basic energy on our turn, we must have another attacker with a DCE going on already yet. So but the thing is that we expect our opponent to knock us out, to revenge knock us out immediately after we launch a Night March attack. So the basic energy doesn't really make sense here because you need to attach the DC every turn, every single turn. So basic energy doesn't make any sense here. So, but there are decks, for example, the mirror. If you play the mirror match, where your opponent doesn't play, if he plays the matchup correctly, he doesn't play any EXs on his bench. So that means that you need to attack 6 times, but with 4 DC that's a problem. So that's why we run the melodic line to recover DC, and also in other matchups it's really, oh, I should not search that here. Oops, I'm a little confused, I'm sorry. Also in other matchups it's just really clutch to put something out of your discard. Remember also that the ECC format was without break point, so there's no puzzle of time. So that's why we run the melodic. Yeah, melodic is just really good in this deck because of the DC and also other stuff. Yeah, if you need a supporter or whatever, melodic just really good. Yeah, then Mady decided to think about what if I go second. And if I go second, I want to get that knockout on my first turn. To make that even easier, it's already very easy, but to make that even easier, he added Muscle Band to his list. It makes sense because if you start Joltik, start Pumpkaboo, attach a Muscle Band, you only need 8 Night Marches in the discard instead of 9 to hit the magic 180. And most of the time it's the less Night Marches you need in the discard, the easier is it to get the knockout. So that makes sense to add the muscle band here. Then what if my opponent promotes a non-EX, but I really want the knockouts on the EXs. So what if he promotes a non-EX and knocks out my Pokemon? Well, that's why he ran Lysander, and he did it 2 times, because he knew that it is very important to draw to get chaos on the axis, and with Lysander it is very easy to do so, because also with the speed engine you you're able to draw through your deck so quickly without playing any supporters at all, that there's it's definitely possible that you run through your deck, you burn through your deck, and then play a Lysander at the end of your turn and knock out a opposing Pokemon EX. So he ran 2 of them. Yeah. Sometimes it happens that you don't have another Night Marcher ready for your next turn. So that's why he decided that he needs a switching option in case his only Pokemon, he attacks with Joltik, Joltik gets knocked out, and then he doesn't have a Night Marcher ready to promote, so he has to promote a Shaman or the Melodic or a Phoebus. So that's why he decided that he needs a switching option, and he chose to split between Floatstone as a one-off and AZ. And that's actually a very interesting choice, because the thing with AZ is that you can target it with Versus Seeker, which is really good. And also the AZ can be used for Milotic to reuse Milodic's ability Sparkling Ripples, which is also really, really good. But on the other hand, it's a supporter, so if you play AZ, you can play any supporter that turn anymore. So that's why he also chose the Floatstone, because you just attach it once, and if your opponent doesn't play Cerosic or Starling Megaphone, it stays there, and then you can just promote the Pokemon with the Floatstone attached to it, and build your Night Marcher on your bench, and then retreat to the Night Marcher and go on from there. Okay. Then we don't have any supporters in the deck right now. Draw supporters in the deck. So the first supporters, if we think about draw supporters that come to our mind, are Professor Sycamore and Judge. Professor Sycamore we will play here. The question is, how many of them do we play? 4 of them seems like an overkill. You really don't need 4, because you play the speed engine, and if you think about it like this, how many turns do I really want to play with Night March in the game? And the best scenario, it's 3 turns where you take a knockout on an EX, on an opposing EX Pokemon, once per turn. So you knock out 3 Pokemon EXs to win the game. So most of the time you play 1 Lysander at least to do so. So how many Sycamores do you really need? And Medi decided to that Sycamore, that 2 of the Sycamores will be enough, because he runs through the deck so quickly. He can reuse them with Versus Seeker, so 2 of them should be enough. And yeah, that's why he chose to play 2 Sycamore. He also knows that it's very important to have an option to disrupt your opponent's hand, because if you don't have that, he can prepare for his next turns and just gather some stuff in his hand, and that's not what you want to happen. So that's why he ran a judge as a one-off. Also, judge is really good if you go first and you manage to burn through your deck and then play judge. Um, that actually means that your opponent starts with 5 cards in his hand. So that's also really good. So that's why the judge is in the deck. So now we have 6 cards left, and that's where it actually gets interesting, because this is like a really standard Night March build. I think those 45 cards can be copied to every Night March list, or almost every Night March list. But now there are some tech cards, and I wanna explain quickly why he chose those, or why I think he chose those. So we're building this deck for a huge tournament. It's actually the biggest tournament in Europe. So the ECC. We had 370-ish competitors in Masters Division. So you have to expect a widely spread metagame. And that means that you can tech for every single matchup you expect to meet there, but you can tech for the matchups you expect the most. And Fatih, why did I say Fatih? I think it's because he just wrote me a message. I'm sorry. Mehdi did that, and he came to the decision that Toad Giratina will be a really a deck that really many people will play. So and as you might already have noticed, as well as Toad and Giratina, both of them are huge threats to Night March. So what do? If we go second against Night March, it's likely that our opponent puts down a double dragon to Giratina EX on the bench and just sits there and waits for you to make your turn, and then he attacks your Pokemon with your DCE with the Giratina, and then you can play any more DCEs. That's why he added the Enhanced Hammer to his list, because he didn't want that to happen. But he didn't feel quite satisfied with only the Enhanced Hammer, because if you whiff it, it can be bad. So we already know that we have a good access to one-off supporters by combining Battle Compressor with VS Seeker. So that's why he also chose to run the Zero Sig, which also makes sense because well, it's so many decks rely on special energies, and that's why Zero Sig is really good. As I already said, with Battle Compressor and VS Seeker, it's really easy to search. Yeah, that's why he played the Zero Sig. I think the other big deck he expected was some sort of Bats. Bats is really good against Night March because they have so low HP. So Bats do real damage here. Of course, they do damage with abilities. What's good against abilities? It's a one-off supporter again, and that's Hexmaniac. If you spam Hexmaniac, they can't. So spam means if you play it turn after turn after turn with VS Seeker, they can't use the abilities of their bats anymore, and that means that they can damage your Night Marches, and it's likely that they don't take multiple knockouts on their turns, which they want to do against this deck. Yeah, that's why he chose Hexmaniac. Also, he sometimes you need to. Uh, it happens that that you um, that your prize cards contain of some of those guys, and if that's the case, to get the early knockout, you need to discard more of the possible attackers. And then sometimes it happens that you run out of attackers because you needed to burn them early on, and that's why he thought, okay, I need to get a way. I need to add a card to find a way to recover an attacker next to melodic. But um, so I could imagine that two cards came to his mind, which are Super Rod and Buddy Buddy Rescue. Super Rod is good, but the thing is that you have to shuffle back in three Pokemon. So if you have three in the discard, you need to shuffle back in those three. So you don't. It's not up to three. It is three. So that's actually a problem with the Night Marches, because if you don't if you don't have that many Night Marchers in the discard, that shuffle back in three of them doesn't matter. It's actually a downside. So Body Body Rescue here seems better because you um, only pick one. Most of the time, the one that doesn't make a difference because your Pokemon uh, got knocked out anyways. Um, Also, Body Body Rescue is really good against Mega Pokemon like Mega Man X. It has 220 HP, and for 220 HP we need 11 Night Marches in the discard or 10 with a Muscle Band. And if we do that with 11 Night Marches, then we can Body Body Rescue for an additional ninth attacker, if you want to say it like this. And yeah, what if? So yeah, we have two cards left exactly. So then as I already said, like, and I say it now for the, I don't know, 100th time, um, you wanna take knockouts on EXs with this deck. But what do you do if you can't Lysander a Pokemon EX on your bench, on your opponent's bench, um, because he doesn't play any more EXs down? That's why he ran Target Whistle, and Target Whistle is just so stupidly good in this deck, because if you can use it for Shamans or any other EXs. The main target for Target Whistle will be Shaman. So if you knock out Shaman, they don't bench any more EXs. You Target Whistle and Lysander Shaman. You knock out the same Shaman twice, so you draw four prizes on one Shaman. That's just so super good. And then if you do that, you can it's you're you're feeling fine with taking two more knockouts on non-EXs, because you just gained such a huge advantage by taking four prizes on a single Pokemon. Yeah, and then we have one card left, and that's also nice to consider that you need to attach the fourth DC, the one of the four DCEs every turn, because you expect your opponent to knock out your Joltik or your Pumpkaboo immediately after you knocked out their Pokemon. So you need the DCE every single turn. How do I plan my next turn if I want to attach the DC? and sometimes it happens that in the prize cards are cards which you really need, which you desperately need for your next turn to get your next turn knockout, and that's why he ran the last card which he ran is the town map. Oops, not the toe end map, or rather the town map. Because if you play town map, your prizes stay open for the whole game. It's not just you look at them, but they stay open. And then you just, depending on the situation, you can pick whatever you want. And those, you, I think town map is such a good card because in 6 cards out of your 60 cards in your deck is 1/10, and that's an amount which you shouldn't underestimate, because actually you play 12 Night Marchers, which is 1/5 of your deck, so it happens a lot of time statistically that you prize 1 or 2 Night Marchers. That's why town map is so good. But you can prize that's one reason. But you can in your prizes there can be stuff like DCE, or I don't know, just Lysander, whatever, another Dimension Valley, any stuff you really need for the knockout next turn. So that's why town map is so good in this deck, because you really can prepare for next turn, and yeah, that's basically it. Those are I I can only imagine. I didn't talk to Mehdi, but I think those are the thoughts he put into this list while making the stack, while building it, because yeah, and as we see, it paid off. He won the biggest tournament in Europe, the ECC, and the list without breakpoint, of course, is probably the best Night March build you'll get, because he really didn't miss on everything, on anything out. So he considered everything, and this is the conclusion. And I think that's really the best build you can get. So I hope you got an idea of the way you have to think if you build a deck. So you need to think about the standard, the build which every deck, or no, the cards every build of the deck of these archetype contains. Then you have to think about matchups. What do I expect? How can I make those matchups better? And then you need like a way to carry out your strategy smoothly, and then you should have, in the best scenario, you should have 60 cards, and that would be your deck. So yeah, I hope you like that sort of video. Maybe I can make those kind of videos, some more of those of those videos in the future. We will see. That video actually was very spontaneous, because the idea just popped up in my head, and I wanted to make this video. Please tell me if you like it, if you don't like it, what you like, what you don't like. I'm always happy to get some feedback, and I hope to I hope to see you guys in our next video.